This is a model of a Mazda RX-7, and this is my real 1993 Mazda RX-7. I'm an 18-year-old model car collector, and I finally decided to buy my first JDM car. When I went to Japan over the summer, I fell in love with the JDM culture and even drove an NSX around Mount Fuji. But when I was driving around, I saw RX-7s everywhere. And believe me, the Rotary sounded insane. So a few months after I came back, after I sold off the model cars that I purchased on my trip, other than the ones of the RX-7, somehow I was able to make this dream a reality. So let's talk about it. Now, we first have to address the stigma about owning an RX-7. See, these cars have rotary engines, and rotary engines are not your typical engine. They have to be lubed properly, they have to be pre-mixed, and you have to keep those revs up because if the carbon builds up, the compression is going to fail. This was my biggest worry when I was looking for an RX-7. The question I always ask for importers, sellers, does the car have good compression? And that's the most important thing to know. But that doesn't mean you should be scared away. See, engines that are even rebuilt with good compression can be done wrong, or if you get the car for a good enough price, you can factor that into the rebuilding cost and know that the engine is getting done right if you take it to a proper rotary shop. This car has always been serviced at Lucky 7 since I purchased it, and they know everything about rotaries. So why don't we go talk about it and take it for a spin. So the car definitely gets a lot of looks when driving. And for me, I'm pretty introverted and extroverted. If you watch my YouTube videos, you can see I'm full of energy, but having a car like this gets a lot of attention. But it's fun because you get to share the hobby, and for me, it's about preserving something that was left to sit. This car came from Kansas, and it was not in the best condition, and I knew that it needed some love. I knew that it needed an investment, I knew that it needed money, and I thought that I would be a good caretaker for it. It's definitely a lot of money, and as an 18-year-old with no regular income and living off investments, it's stressful at times. You can drive the car one day and it'll be fine, but then you have to worry. But as long as you take care of your things and expect that a 30-year-old car might mess up, it's not going to be an issue. If you have a car that is this old and needs that kind of attention, it's going to cost money. So yeah, it's definitely stressful to drive at times just because it's a small car, people can't see it. This one is blacked out with very legal tint. You know that in Japan, these cars are small and compact because there's not a lot of space in those big cities, and these cars were kind of built for that. Of course, they're built for the canyon roads there, but then again, they're also very small there too. So when driving this in a big city like Los Angeles, you have to be very considerate about the cars around you. When I drive this car at night, it gives me a lot of anxiety because the car is low, it's dark, and the lights aren't that bright. But really, people just don't pay attention in this city. But for this, it's such a joy to drive. There were some things that I didn't expect when considering the maintenance costs is labor. With these cars, they need a lot of little tinkering and minor adjustments. And with this, a simple job turned into thousands of dollars in labor, which ate away the costs of things like the differential. So that still needs to be done in this car. This car came from the Midwest, and it wasn't taken care of in the standard that I would have liked it to be. But that's why I'm taking care of it now. You know, the car is 35 years old, it's traded hands, it's been through people who maybe don't understand a rotary. And it's my job now to ensure the car is taken care of. But now let's answer a question. What is it like to get gas in this car? So filling up this car isn't as normal as you expect it to be. This actually needs premix that goes into the gasoline. For this type of mods in the car, you have to do about ½ an ounce per gallon, and this is about 8 ounces, so I'll probably fill it up halfway and put 8 gallons of gas in here. My hands are shaky, so I have to be careful. So what you have to do is put the premix in first. So 200 milliliters is about 6.7 fluid ounces. We'll probably put about 13 gallons of gas in here. All right, drink it up. It is definitely expensive to fill up cars here in California. The gas is almost $5 a gallon, and on top of that you have to put in the premix. But for me, I think about miles per gallon rather than the cost. You can't think about the gas mileage in the car that you're always driving at 6,000 RPM. You're not going to get good mileage. So there were some other things talking about just owning the car. Some questions I'm sure people have. For example, oil changes. For me, this car eats a pretty good amount of oil. I just got it done 1,000 miles ago and it's already halfway. So I'll probably top it up, get some more oil in it, and it should be good to go. I think people worry about maintenance in these cars, and look, you just have to be more cautious. Other things that surprised me, obviously it gets a lot of attention, but I think just it brings a lot of good people around you, you know? But with this kind of car, people appreciate it for the hobby, not because of how much it costs, but people also might underestimate how much this kind of car costs. So to be transparent, I purchased this car for $25,000. I spent about $2,000 shipping it. I spent actually $7,500 getting the car car recommissioned. It needed an exhaust, it needed all the fluids to be changed. Fortunately, the tires were good. It's on Pilot Sport Cups, which grip like crazy. Injectors, spark plugs, rerouting the vacuum lines, just making the car good to go. And of course, the labor was the most expensive part about it. Also, the brake system needed to get rebuilt because of the ABS. People sometimes say they like to delete ABS on these kind of cars. For me, I want to be safe. You know, I actually replaced the airbag in this car because I wanted it to be safe. Obviously, for my passengers, I worry about them, but that's why I usually drive by myself, because people are crazy on the road. But I think you have close calls with all kinds of stuff, so as long as you're careful, knock on wood, you'll be okay. But of course, this guy's tailgating me in his massive truck. I just like how smooth the car sounds. You know, it's just a really satisfying, you know, it has the blow-off valves. It doesn't sound too tacky. It used to have a straight piped exhaust, which was just a little much for me, and also smelled really bad because it didn't have cats. I think the way that it's set up right now, I'm pretty happy with it. So what's next for the car? We talked about the ownership experience. We talked about what it was like to buy the car, get it shipped here, the cost. But obviously this car is still old. It needs work. It still needs things that I would like to be done. So some stuff that it needs. AC. It's 80 degrees in February today, and it is hot. It is burning hot in this car. And of course, for the sake of audio, we've got to have the windows up. But yeah, I definitely do AC. I want to do the differential, maybe change the lights so I can drive it at night, change up the bulbs, paint correction. But the car is just such a blast to drive. I mean, just you take it on these windy roads, and whether it's in the canyons or just wide empty streets. And the thing is, you just get the revs up. You don't have to speed, you don't have to be crazy. You just enjoy and just go through the motions, go through the revs, go through the gears. Hear that blow-off valve, hear the turbo suck that air. It's twin turbo with 2 blow-off valves. It's gonna make noise, it's gonna be fun. It pops, it's just such an experience. And the car definitely gets a lot of attention. Just filming around today, there's so many people and cool cars, thumbs up, full conversations, and that's really what the whole point about this is. You have something that's different and you have something that's unique, and as an owner of it at such a young age, I know it's important to share that information and share that knowledge. It's different, and when you have a cool car like this, you have to be able to enjoy it. If people are asking questions, share that love for the passion, because not everybody can afford to keep these cars in shape. Not everybody can keep them on the road, and every year the amount left dwindles down. It's truly a beautiful thing. Last night when I was driving the RX-7, I was super exhausted and I didn't know if I wanted to get up. But what had happened was when I was driving around, I was about to go home and I saw a bunch of familiar taillights. And it happened to be an R34, an R33, R35, Supra, NSX, all of these other JDM cars. And the best thing about it was that they welcomed me into their group. Of course, people are busy. People have stuff that go on in their lives. But for me, owning an RX-7 has been an honor, and I will continue to cherish it every single day. I'm so thankful for all my viewers watching my model car reviews, watching my model car videos. That will continue to happen. But also, as I get more access to more incredible vehicles like these, you're definitely going to see that on the channel. So thanks for watching and stay tuned for my next video. See ya.